You can take coffee cool.
The coffee campaign is advertising aimed at young people.
But make sure it's good.
These are the men behind the campaign who want you to drink more coffee.
However much you pile on the pace, coffee can help you take it. The more you use, the more you get back.
This commercial was made in 1969, and a new one is being planned for 1970. How do they go about thinking and planning an advertising campaign like this one?
That commercial is the first one in a campaign designed to get more people to drink more coffee. The Coffee Promotion Council run it, and we represent the International Coffee Organization.
One of the International Coffee Organization's main jobs is to encourage people all over the world to drink more coffee.
Well, coffee is the world's second largest exportable product, so it's tremendously important for the countries who grow it to sell their coffee. In fact, 12 countries in Africa and Latin America depend upon coffee for 40% or more of their total export earnings.
Hasta que lleguemos al tema 9. Brasil tiene la palabra. Yo desearía también, señor presidente, dice el delegado de Brasil, que se
In England, we don't drink much coffee, so to persuade us to drink more, an advertising agency is employed. Batten, Barton, Durstein and Osborne, or BBDO, as it's more simply known. BBDO handles advertising for 30 different clients, ranging from telephones to flowers to beer. It can offer each one of these clients a combination of special skills and experience in selling which no single manufacturer could afford to have for himself. The 140 on the payroll are responsible for £4.5 million worth of advertising every year. The staff includes specialists in market research, psychologists, writers and artists, but above all else, they are salesmen. They work in groups and use their combined skills and experience to increase sales and, as in the case of coffee, to change habits. Bruce Noble is in charge of the coffee account group. We asked him what the main problems were with the coffee campaign.
With coffee specifically, we had to recognize that the sums of money which were available were insufficient for our advertising to be directed across the whole adult universe of the country. We had to decide where best to channel our efforts. We could have, for example, decided to advertise regionally, or we could decide to advertise at a particular segment of the overall population. And by studying all the market research which is available on the consumption of coffee, we decided, along with the client, the Coffee Promotion Council, that the best target to address our advertising to was the young section of the population. That's to say, basically the people in the 16 to 24 age group. Why did we select the 16 to 24 age group as our target market? Well, first of all, the 16 to 24 age group already consume more coffee than the average adult. They consume about 40% more during the course of a year. So they're already inclined to be the coffee drinker. Although 90% of them drink coffee, only 1 in 5 of the drinks that they drink is coffee. And so there's a long way to go in persuading them to drink coffee in place of other beverages.
Jimmy Adams is in charge of media and research. He advises the advertisers where to spend their money most effectively, on television, in the press, or in the cinema.
Now, it's possible in this country to reach young people through a whole battery of media, but the one medium which reaches them to the exclusion of older people is the cinema medium. At the same time, this medium gives us all the opportunity we want creatively. We can have a big screen, colour, the whole concentration of the audience is on the screen. If you think about the problem we had, the total sum of money involved was about £206,000, of which about £160,000 was available for straightforward advertising. We decided to take the section of population whose habits really were not particularly firmly formed, that is the youngest section of the population, and we knew in any case that this was the section of the population who were most attuned to coffee, who were most sympathetic with the message which we had to bring forward.
What do you thought about it? Start with you, Fiona.
The research department frequently asks groups of young people to come to the agency and talk about their reactions to the campaign and their feelings about coffee in general. They talk to a trained psychologist and their remarks are recorded on tape.
Could you tell me when you drink coffee and perhaps when you drink tea? What sort of situations? When would you prefer one to the other, for example?
By analysing their replies to questions, it's possible to build up a picture of the effectiveness of the campaign as a whole. As a new commercial is being planned, reactions to last year's are extremely interesting.
You know, it was quite impressive, quite good music.
What do you think they were trying to tell you, Andy? What came across?
Tell me, oh, you know, drink coffee more or less, but I mean, I've seen that and I couldn't remember the ad, but at the time I enjoyed it. So it must lose its point if you can't remember what the ad's about.
The end part was the only thing that really struck me as being an advert when they showed the jar of coffee and the words, whatever they were, I can't remember. That's the only part that stuck out as being an advert.
We asked Paul Hoppy how they go about creating a new commercial in his department and what the problems are.
Our job in the creative department, quite simply, is to break through the boredom barrier. People nowadays see on average 700 advertisements a day. So if your advertisement is going to be the one that sticks in public memory, you've got to create something memorable and attractive and interesting. Because with 700 advertisements being put before the public every day, an awful lot of them are just going to slide like water off a duck's back. First of all, we look at our market, in this particular instance, young people, and we say, what are they interested in? What do they like talking about? What do they like watching? And then we use that as a vehicle for talking about our product, in this instance, coffee. After we have arrived at what we call the creative brief, the prime responsibility for producing the idea is that of the copywriter. Basically, he goes to work as a journalist or a scriptwriter or a dramatist would go to work with the object of entertaining people and at the same time putting across the message he wants to put across.
It starts with the situation, in this case it's coffee. Here I'm trying to start by finding slightly unusual situations, something that is going to give a different visual feel before you even start putting any words on it at all, something that young people can identify with and is out of the ordinary, something just that little bit different. As in this case, it looks like it's going to be motorbikes.
Having written a script, the copywriter, Peter Kundle, has to convince his boss that it will make an effective commercial.
Well, this starts in the country, completely quiet. There's nothing except a hill in the foreground, and there's no noise at all. And suddenly you get a crash as a motorbike comes roaring over the top, and you get that rapid succession. As you pull back, you get the helmets of the riders bobbing over one by one by one, and it's a motorbike scramble. And you get this fantastic noise because it's all unsilenced motorbikes, you know, they're all roaring over this top. And you pan down and follow them, racing away from the camera, and you come to a crowd, and you cut to the crowd where there's a mobile canteen, and it's surrounded by young people, and you lose the motorbike sound at this point, and you start picking up your music. And they're part of this crowd by the canteen, all pushing forward. They're doing a roaring trade. There are two white-coated workers, and...
When you say canteen, you mean a fairly smart-looking place. We don't want one of your old army truck conversions.
No, a modern mobile canteen with lots of gleaming irons and things. And then we cut to find them much later on, towards early evening, riding motorbikes, now maybe along a cliff-top road. They ride down onto a yacht marina, which can be quite an exciting sequence because you get that floating movement thing on the marina. It'd be, in fact, rather difficult to do it. And I think it's important they ride their bikes with a certain amount of style, you know, sort of panache to it, without showing off, without doing anything dangerous.
We don't want them looking like Hell's Angels.
No, but we'll perhaps put a couple of Hell's Angels in the back, you know, somewhere in the crowd, in the earlier sequence. Anyway, they go down the marina and they stop by the gangway before a 25-foot yacht, and they, instead of putting their bikes on the stands, mate them together, and they get on the yacht, and they cast off, and it goes out. And we cut to the cockpit of the yacht, where the girl has made coffee, and she serves two, one for herself, one for the boy. He's on the tiller, and they drink. And we might cut to an onshore shot through the motorbikes as the boat's vanishing out to sea, and super up good, strong coffee.
You don't think we're in danger of losing touch with reality with this business of 25-foot yachts and so on? I say kids of 18 don't own 25-foot yachts.
Yeah, but I think they would aspire to owning them. I mean, it's the difference between the impossible, which is an Onassis floating palace, and what might be a 10-year-old 25-foot yacht. It doesn't have to cost a fortune. It is something within their aspirations, within their immediate financial reach.
They can identify with it at
least.
Yes, yeah.
Yes, I think so. And the voice track is really much as before, with the difference that with the Chelsea drugstore we had the chance to show different ways of drinking coffee, whereas this time we're just saying, good strong coffee, pick one up and it'll do the same for you.
Mike Hall is the agency's television and film producer.
Basically, my job is to take the original idea from the creative department and to put it into film, put it onto film. It is my first job to find the right director to make the film in the way that we want it made. In this case, we chose Ridley Scott because he's a bright, new, young director, somebody who will give our idea a young feel, a young look, because our market is basically youth.
Casting is always a problem, and for the motorbike commercial, it took several weeks, and over 30 models were auditioned.
It's very difficult, in fact, to find quite a beautiful young girl who can ride a motorbike. And this, in fact, was a problem that went on and on and on. We found beautiful-looking girls, but although they said they could ride motorbikes, they never could. And once you put them on a motorbike, it became very dangerous. And in fact, we were very lucky, in fact, to find a girl who looks right and can ride a motorbike. Well, the models in the commercial are basically the people that we reflect, the sort of people that we are aiming for, the audience that we're aiming for. They're the sort of people that that audience we think would look at and say, I'd like to be like that. I'd like to do what those two people are doing. The boy doesn't have to be just attractive from the girl's point of view, but he has to be acceptable to all the boys as well. And the same way the girl has to be attractive to the boys, but mustn't upset any of the girls, anything that she does or is seen to do, or the way she looks, or the clothes she wears, or anything of the sort.
It was 3 months between the copywriter's original idea to use motorbikes and the day of actually shooting the film. The film director must capture on film the excitement of a scramble. Every scene, every detail in the final film must add up to 60 seconds of powerful selling.
Keeping us all waiting. Come on, Maureen. God, Struth, you don't know. Go on, there, I tell you.
Angle round a little bit more, Maureen, this way. Face round just a touch.
Lovely,
right. Lovely, okay.
Go on in. Come out of the shop.
Scene 16, take one.
Drink the coffee. Drink the coffee. Hold it, Maureen, that cup's dirty. Try this one. There you are, carry on. Drink it.
Okay, Ridley, I can see they clear the trees now. They're coming very fast this time.
It might take several days to shoot 2 hours of film, but only 1 minute's worth will be used in the commercial. After the film has been shot and edited, a composer is commissioned to write a musical score that will appeal to young people and have the right sounds.
And sort of into a jazz waltz to take the bikes away.
But how are you going to get across from that section to the next one?
Good question. By the bike where they roar away. Brum, brum. Right. And then sort of a jazz waltz rhythm, because you've still got those motorbike sounds going away.
And they're moving fast.
And they're moving quite fast, so they take the rhythm. Until they get to, what have I got? 26 seconds? 26 seconds. As they get off the bikes, nice and sustained and quiet. Flute we have. Good, strong coffee. Pick one up. It'll do the same for you.
Finally, a month after the shooting, and 4 months after the original idea, the copywriter's script is read to the finished film and recorded.
So well with the picture. Do we have one more go?
Yes, certainly.
The commentator, Alexis Corner, must read the words so as they have the right emphasis and fit the picture exactly. It can take up to an hour to record 1 minute's worth of script in the most effective way.
Good, strong coffee. Pick one up, and it'll do the same for you. Anytime, anywhere. A lot more people drink coffee than just about anything else. Coffee stirs things up. Gets you going when you're tired, keeps you going when you're not. However much you pile on the pace, coffee can help you take it. The more you use, the more you get back.
With the commentary recorded, the commercial is ready to be shown. What effect do they hope it'll have?
We'd like to see young people drink more coffee, and we'd like particularly to see those young people who don't drink coffee every day become regular coffee drinkers.
But we have a long way to go in this country. We don't drink nearly as much coffee as they do in Sweden or the States. There is an awful lot of coffee in the world, as the song said, and we have been employed to help sell that coffee.
I'd like to see them drinking 3.5 to 4 cups sometime in the 1980s. Coffee consumption's doubled within the last 7 or 8 years. I'd like to see it do the same thing again.
The commercials will have an incredible effect upon the young people. I think they look very good in their medium, which is cinema. I think they're exciting, and they will stop the young people in the cinema, and they'll think about what the message of the film is.
Will you?